I think there's always going to be judgment. Plus, I'm a school teacher. So, will some look at me with a different lens? I don't know. But I hope that they would see me, the person Barb, my love and passion for teaching and helping others, and not so much who I love. But I can't change them if they do judge. But I will never deny who I am again. I lived too many years with that shame and anguish and torment. There are times I wanted to take my own life. And I just won't go back into that closet again.
Everybody, welcome back to Living the Next Chapter. It's the Author Podcast. We get to meet great people from around the world. I'm thrilled to have time with this author because she's working with one amazing gentleman named Dominic Damaski. You've probably heard his name if you've been here before. He's been back over and over and over again. He's got amazing authors that he works with, and he's such a wonderful person. He has been helping this author, and her name is Barb, and she's here on the show today to talk about her new book. It's coming out. We're excited for this, and there's a lot of great stories. You're going to learn something today, everybody. I hope you enjoy this. Barb, welcome to Living the Next Chapter. So glad to have you on the show.
Thank you so much, Dave. It is my pleasure to be here, and I, too, am very appreciative to Dominic and all that he's done to help me along this journey. So sharing this time with you, knowing how you are connected to him is just great all the way around.
See, win, win, win.
That's right.
It's good. So Dominic, as you listen, thank you, my friend, for another great author you've sent my way. Barb and I have had a chance to meet and chat as we prepare for today, and yeah, what a great person to have on the show, Barb. I'm excited to have you here. This is really cool. Let everybody know first, Barb, where are you in this big world of ours?
In this big world of ours, I am in Irwin, Pennsylvania, which is about 30 minutes east of Pittsburgh. I think that's a much more familiar city name. And I've lived here since 1999. I'm originally from Florida. I was born and raised in Tampa.
There you go. That's a big difference, right?
Yes.
Florida, Pennsylvania. Wow.
But I love it.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, that's good. Okay. There's another part of your story which is quite interesting. Growing up, your younger years, growing up as a teenager, you took a totally different path than many people have taken, right? You've done some interesting things. Can you share a little bit with us, a little bit of your background as well, Barb? Because this is fascinating for me.
Well, at the age of 16, I entered the convent.
Hello. Wow.
I wanted to be a nun. I actually wanted to be a nun since I was in the 8th grade. So from the age of 13 to when I started high school, that was my entire focus. In fact, I would go every day after school to my elementary school, and I would work the aftercare program with the sisters. And that's all I cared about. So I wasn't your typical high schooler going to dances and participating in clubs and all those extracurricular activities. My focus was I wanted to enter the convent, and I spent as much time as I could with the sisters. And I did. I entered when I was 16. I flew to Boston, and that is where I lived for a year and a half.
Okay, so can anybody just walk in and say, "Hi, I want to become a nun"? Like, do they have I don't understand how this works. How do you just, how does this happen? How do you do this?
Well, that's interesting because there are hundreds of different orders or congregations, as they're called.
Yeah.
And they all have different requirements.
Okay.
So this particular order that I entered, the Disciples of Jesus and Mary, they accepted girls from the age of 14. So I actually finished my senior year in Boston. On the contrary, the order that I really wanted to enter, the Sisters of St. Francis of de Sales, I went to school with them and they worked with kids. So I really wanted to be like them. However, their requirement was that your parents had to be married in the Catholic Church.
Okay.
And my parents were not. So when I met this first group of sisters, of course, I was immediately enamored and I thought, wow. And when I found out that they would accept me, regardless of the status of my parents, I immediately jumped on it. And there I was. So there are requirements that each congregation has. There's also age limits. I can't imagine that now in 2026, any order would take you as early as 14, but it was like that for them.
How does, like, tell me about what it's like at home for you to come home and say, I know what I want to do. I know where I want to be. And you tell them, this is where I want to go. Does your family and your community, your friends, like, what was the response from the people around you when you're like, yeah, I know, this is what I'm going to do. This is my path.
Well, I honestly didn't talk to my friends about it.
Okay,
because
really?
it just was not a topic of conversation. Plus, I don't think any of them would understand. My mom, I think she would listen, okay, but didn't give it really a whole lot of attention. She wasn't a very religious person at all. In fact, in my book, I talk about how we were at odds with our faith because she was into witchcraft.
Oh.
And
wow.
A lot of that went on in the house growing up. And it was completely at odds with everything I had been taught and everything that I valued as a kid, as a Catholic. So there was no support as far as helping me along this journey to enter the convent and kind of fulfill the desire of my heart at the time.
When you go into the convent, do they pair you up with somebody so that you're not kind of navigating everything on your own? Like, do you have like somebody who's a little bit older than you that's kind of your buddy system? Like, is there anything like that?
There's no buddy system allowed in the convent.
Nothing. Okay.
It's actually taboo to have a particular friendship.
Really?
As what it's called. So basically, there were about 20 of us when I entered in my group. I was a postulant. So that's one of the titles given to that group in formation. And so each group has a superior. So my superior is the one that would oversee us. And anything that we needed, we would need to go to her. But as far as having a buddy or someone that we could go and talk to, that just did not happen. Although with me, something quite unprecedented did happen.
Oh, okay. And was this in the book?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So this will be interesting. Can you give us a slight hint? Because we want people to buy the book. That's the main reason why we're here. But,
well, I did have a particular friendship.
Okay.
And it was not with someone in my group. It was with one of the nuns that was at least 15 years older than me.
Really?
Yes. And it actually tormented me for many reasons. First of all, I was in the convent studying to be a nun, and we were sneaking around in the convent to just spend a few moments together. So that was definitely taboo. You did not do that, period. And of course, I mean, I was a 16-year-old I didn't know it at the time, but I was carrying so much trauma from my childhood. I mean, abuse and dysfunction, but I didn't know that at the time. So I'm dealing with all of that. And then, am I gay? I don't want to be gay.
Mm.
And struggling with those feelings. So I had a lot going on while trying to live this religious life, which was rather rigid. I mean, there were strict rules.
Yeah.
I was definitely breaking one of them.
Okay, now that's the part, that's kind of where I was going with my question was, like, how does one person, A, get into a convent, and then B, learn how to become a nun? Like, it's not like everybody knows how to do that. It's not like becoming a police officer or a teacher. Like, there's a path, and we all kind of know the path to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the path. Like, I have no idea how you go from I want to be to becoming a nun. Like, what kind of things are they teaching you? Is it like a classroom where you're learning how to become a nun? I have no idea.
Well, it's a little mix of everything.
Okay.
But yes, I mean, we basically followed the schedule of the congregation. So, for example, we were up at 5 a.m.
Whoa.
and our life consisted of prayer, studies, and working in what we call the apostolate. The apostolate is the work of that particular group of nuns. So with this particular group, they use the media to share God's word. So in this mother house, there were large printing presses, a bindery department, typography, a radio department, all of which was foreign to me. I was used to working with kids.
Yeah.
Right? So, but they trained us. We spent time in each different department, learning those different skills, trying to hone a particular skill. But it never came easy to me. It's not something that I enjoyed, right? We had what we call formation classes, which are basically, the do's and don'ts of religious life. So we had those several times a week, alongside our regular high school classes. So you learned as you watched the others, you knew what was appropriate and inappropriate. And if you didn't know, you were told quickly. So I remember the very first night I entered, and I was shocked. One of the postulants were at the dinner table, and she stood up and came over to the superior and asked if she could split her apple with another postulant. And I thought to myself, you've got to ask permission to split an apple? Are you kidding me? So that was like my first introduction to, oh boy, what did I just get myself into? But, you just learn, and if you make a mistake, you are quickly corrected.
So what about becoming a nun was so attractive to you at that age? Like, you said you had some interactions with other nuns as part of growing up, but was it a sense of home? Was it a sense of community? Like, what was it that drew you so much to this?
As I look back now, I would say it was a sense of home, community, feeling safe, feeling part of a family.
Yeah.
All of which I didn't have growing up. In fact, at my elementary school, I spent a lot of time with the sisters. I would help them after school. I would join them at church on Sundays and during Easter Holy Week. They were my life. And although I was a little ornery and mischievous and got myself in trouble, I still loved them. And that is, I suppose, what drew me. Subconsciously, again, I didn't know all the trauma that I was carrying. I more than likely just buried it all, right? But I wanted that family unit. I wanted that community.
But you're still wrestling with your own humanity at the same time. You're safe there,
Yes.
but you're also not safe there because of what's happening relationally with you and others. That whole thing could get you into trouble.
Oh, that was
right?
tormenting me. I mean, it was not positive. It broke me.
So there's safety, but you're not completely safe at the same time.
Right. And I also believe it's because I was struggling with these feelings inside me that would surface every once in a while, like these butterfly feelings towards these different women, which scared me to death. I was like, what is this? I shouldn't be feeling this. Like, I don't want this. So I struggled with that for, probably until I was like 45 years old.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
So my memoir includes a lot of different stories, experiences that I've had, that some lovely and others rather dark. But through all of it, you can read and feel the struggle and turmoil that I experience, and trying to reconcile my sexuality with my faith.
Right.
I didn't want to be gay. I didn't want to go to hell. I didn't want to be committing a sin. And that's what I believed.
Tell us about the title of the book, too, for people listening. They're like, I want to know, what is this book called? It's coming out soon, but tell us.
The Heartbeat of My Silence. I kept silence for so long about so many different things, not only my sexuality, the abuse, the dysfunction, the self-harm, so many things. And the silence, though, was within me. It's that heartbeat.
Right.
And there came a point where I couldn't anymore.
Who do you hope this book helps?
I hope that it helps not only individuals like me who have struggled accepting their own sexuality. So first and foremost, I hope that they can find their voice and they can find people along their path that support them, that will listen, that will encourage them. I also hope that it helps those individuals who don't understand what it means to love someone of the same sex, and they judge us. I hope that it will help them to open their hearts up a little bit and realize that it's not something that, when we say, oh, I'm going to choose this just because I want to choose this. No, it's something rooted deep within us. And I would hope that it would help anyone that is struggling in any way, who has maybe suffered any type of abuse, be it sexual or physical, or has had a dysfunctional home, that they would know that in the midst of all of that, they can rise up and they can become someone, as I have. So I think that it's for a lot of different readers, not just one group of readers. I think that there's space in it for so many different individuals to take something from it.
So there would be a lot of fear of judgment for you growing up, maybe some guilt because of how you're wrestling with what you believe to know and what's happening in real time. So you're wrestling with that as well. Like you grew up pretty fast then.
For sure.
From 16, right? Yeah, it's kind of like an accelerated version from childhood to adulthood in a very short amount of time.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
No, I had to deal with a lot of things at home that a child shouldn't have to deal with.
Right.
So, for example, many times I felt like I was the parent, so I did grow up pretty fast, and it wasn't easy. And a lot of what I went through as a child wasn't easy. But now when I look back, I am certain that I buried so much of it.
Yeah.
And actually, it didn't surface until I entered the convent at 16.
Yeah. I think I picked up on the fact you said you were there for the first time in the
Yes.
convent.
Yes.
Okay, wait. So how long were you there for the first time? Because I want to go to part 2 here.
So the first time I was there for a year and a half.
Okay. And that's okay. Then what happens?
And then I come back home
Okay.
and I go to my elementary school and work with the sisters, the same sisters that I had grown up with.
Wow.
Right? And if you remember, I couldn't enter that order because my parents were not married in the church.
Right.
Nevertheless, they took me under their wing, and I was always involved with them. I worked there. I spent the weekends with them. I mean, they were everything for me. And in 1989, there was an exception made, and it was actually the Mother General in Rome that allowed me to enter that order, although my parents had not been married in the church. Now, there's a lot more detail in the book.
Yeah.
I'm just giving it to you in a nutshell that I was accepted. Like the rule that had been, upheld for decades
Yeah.
it just crumbled, and I
Wow.
was accepted.
So that's not a common request then.
No.
No.
It had to go to Italy to the
Wow.
Mother General, and the Mother General and her council, she is the one that oversees the entire congregation all over the world.
Wow.
And there are thousands. There are over 10,000 sisters all over the world for this particular order, just this one. Okay.
Wow.
So, yeah, that was like a miracle. And as I said in my book, you can read everything that led to that moment. And so then I entered again in 1989.
So when you go back in 1989, then are you in a different location?
Yes.
With a different group than you were in the first time, right?
Yes. The second
Was it-
time I'm in New Jersey.
Was it better then, the second time?
There were a lot of things that were better
Okay.
as far as community life. And again, I knew so many of those sisters because I went to elementary school. Now I was, 19, 20? So I had been with those sisters all those years. Plus, in the summer, I would attend their summer camp. That was also in New Jersey. So this was a place where I not only felt loved, but it was common for me. And I knew these sisters and they were all very friendly, and I just loved being with them. So it was very different.
Okay. And so for the second time you're in now, how long were you there the second time?
1 year.
1 year. Okay.
Yes.
So what happens at that 1 year mark?
Well, I was struggling, and a lot of times I wouldn't know where these feelings were coming from.
Right.
Although I never had what I called the butterfly feelings for anyone that year, I did have, I started questioning my interest in men when these missionary volunteers came to visit. And this missionary started talking to me, and we both discovered that we were from Tampa. And so he said to me before he left, so when you go down in the summer, look me up. Well, that just threw me over the edge. I'm like, look me up? What? And so all these feelings, I'm like, oh my gosh, oh, he's so cute. And I wonder what it would be like to date a man that loved God like I do, and all these crazy feelings, right? I mean, I was still young, like 19 or 20. And so I wanted to talk to my superior about those feelings because I always felt like I had to tell on myself. If something felt wrong, I had to confess it. And she ignored me for like 2 or 3 days. When she finally said, okay, Barb, you want to talk now? I was like, oh, I'm good because I feel like I resolved it. Well, no, that just snowballed. And it ended up where she didn't want me there anymore. She thought I should go home. I'll never be a nun. And it started from there. And then the mother provincial, who asked to see me, understood my feelings. And she says, Barb, it's okay. Like, if we never question our feelings, then how would that, ever be our vows, ever be like challenged? It's okay to feel that. You should stay on, go home for vacation, and then come back in the fall as a postulant because I was an aspirant my first year. I said, okay. I was so happy. Well, my superior wasn't very happy. And she made things miserable for me.
Really?
Because what she wanted and what the mother provincial stated were two opposite things, right? So I went to summer camp, and I honestly don't know. I don't remember what really pushed me to decide I'm going to go home. I'm done. I was done for the moment because when I went home, I told the sisters in Tampa, I want to enter again for the 3rd time. But this time I'm going to get my bachelor's degree before I go back. And obviously I never did go back. Here I am.
Okay, so your life is different today, obviously. You're in a totally different place. How has your story then developed over time leading to writing the book? I'm just curious to see how your path kind of developed from there. We're going to buy the book, obviously. That's the reason why we're talking about this. But I'm just interested to know how you went from that life to where you are today. That's a big change as well.
Well, when I left the convent the 2nd time, I was 20. I went back to the sisters. That was always my safe place.
Right.
Right? And it's the same sisters whom I joined. So it wasn't like, I was the enemy because I had left. Absolutely not. They still embraced me. They understood religious life, is not easy. So I spent the next 8 years just living my life under their shadow, doing everything with them. Like I said, the holidays, the weekend, shopping, the beach, everything. They were my life. My life revolved around them. And something pretty significant happened in that time, which I don't think I can give it away.
No,
because
don't.
it's
No.
pretty intense.
Yeah.
Those sisters don't even know this happened.
Really?
Nobody knows.
Okay.
But it was pretty intense. And it haunted me for a very, very long time. Again, I didn't want to be gay. I didn't want to have those feelings. And they would just come out of nowhere.
Really?
Yes. So this experience that happened to me, I truly buried deep, because I continued working with the sisters like throughout that time. And had they even had an inkling, I think that they would have totally turned their back on me.
Really?
Yes. It was something that haunted me for a long time.
So you were trying to protect that relationship with these nuns. You wanted, because that was a safe place for you to be with them, right?
Yes.
So you were kind of afraid of losing that connection.
Yes. There's so much emotion and so much tied into that. And like I said, to this day, they don't know.
Wow.
So I suppose they will soon.
There's a book on its way. Yeah.
Yeah. But
wow.
I stayed with the sisters, like I said, those 8 years. And when I was like 28, 29, it was like a couple years before moving up here, I started to like expand and meet other friends outside of the sisters. And I was like, oh, wow, this feels different. You know, I mean, I did have a good few friends. My best friend, Stu, we always hung out, a guy friend. He's like my only guy, best male friend, right? But when I started to like open up and see what it was like to have friends outside of the nuns, I was like, wow. And so that friendship with other women outside of the sisters, that just, you know, provided other experiences for me. And at some point I did fall in love with a woman. And that's what brought me to Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was incredible. And of course, I was still struggling with the guilt and the shame and the secret of it all. That's another, wow, what I went through with that whole relationship. I mean, there's a lot. That's a lot that happened. But I loved her and she loved me. Although she never quite identified herself as gay. She simply said that she fell in love with my heart, not because I was a woman. So that relationship and everything that happened there, which was tough, really some hard stuff, is what later led me to move to Pennsylvania in 1999. And again, still struggling. I was in this secret relationship with this woman, but no one knew. I even denied it to my family. My cousin asked me one day, "Are you in a relationship with Lauren?" I said, "No." "Bobby," because that's my nickname in Spanish, "are you gay?" "No, I'm not gay. Why would you ask me something like that?" But the whole time I was in a relationship, but I could not accept it. And again, I was with her all those years, and it wasn't until I was 45 years old that I was finally able to articulate those 3 words, I am gay. And I'm 56.
So, Barb, there's somebody listening to this right now, and the beautiful thing about podcasting, Barb, is nobody knows what you're listening to. So the person listening to our conversation right now clicked on this episode for a reason, and they're still here. And maybe they are where you were, and they're living this right now, feeling very alone, guilty, afraid of judgment, all the things we talked about. What can you say to them right now that's going to help them to not feel so alone, so judged, so guilty from your perspective now? If we can talk to them in the safety and security of nobody knows what they're listening to. So we're not going to out anybody right now. What would you say to them to really encourage them that they're not alone on this planet with all these feelings?
Mm-hmm. I've been where you are. I do understand the feelings, the guilt, the shame, the confusion. I've been there.
Right.
And you're not alone. Allow the words of those that love you and those that know you and those that accept you. Allow those words to embrace you and help you to rise up. Because that's what happened with me. When I finally opened my heart to a dear friend and just sobbed and just told her, finally I told somebody I'm in love with a woman, she just embraced me and said, it's okay, Barb. And I had never shared that with somebody as an adult. Actually, I take that back. I had shared it once at church, and someone was praying for me, and I felt really guilty. And I told them, I'm in love with a woman. And that individual responded, it's okay, Barb. God can change you. We can change you. I didn't want to change. I knew inside, although I struggled, I knew inside this is who I am, even if for so long I didn't want to be. So I would say to that individual, find that person that you trust and share it with them. Because I know that was the starting point for me. When I finally said those 3 words out loud, I am gay and I'm in love with a woman.
Barb, do you still feel judged? Do you still feel fearful?
I think there's always going to be judgment.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm a school teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So will some look at me with a different lens? I don't know. But I hope that they would see me, the person Barb, my love and passion for teaching and helping others, and not so much who I love. But I can't change them if they do judge, but I will never deny who I am again. I lived too many years with that shame and anguish and torment. There are times I wanted to take my own life, and I just won't go back into that closet again.
So this book is going to be a companion for people. I know it's your story, but there's a part there for the audience, the readers, to connect to the story and maybe put themselves in their version of their own life compared to yours. And there's going to be a connection for the readers then as well.
I think that there'll be a connection at so many levels.
Yeah.
Because it really encompasses it's not just about my sexuality. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
But it encompasses so many different themes and things that we go through as kids, as young adolescents, as young adults.
Right.
So I think that it will be a book that can reach a lot of different readers.
Wow. And the book comes out, you're hoping for before June, right? Is what your hopes are?
Because June is Pride Month.
There you go.
So we're working hard to get it out by the end of May. I will have a website and where pre-orders can be made. I am going to make that information available as soon as it's create it. I know it's going to be on Amazon, so I hope that many of you will be able to get this copy.
Barb, like, what a fascinating story, right? There's so many touch points for the audience. People who don't feel like they have a home. People who are trying to find their identity. People who are wrestling with their identity. People who are feeling guilty. Like, there's so many different levels that we've kind of touched on. I think your book is going to be a great, like I said, a great companion to the reader who's feeling any of those things, right? No matter what your situation is. But the fact that you are willing to share your story in this way, it's deeply personal. But I think that's how we help people, Barb, is we tell our story and we share all the things and all the feelings about how we wrestled with this thing, how we overcame, how all the things that tripped us up, or right, things we wish we could do over. But now we're here. Now we're here in this space now. And I don't know if we would be in this space if we didn't take these paths, but we're here now. And it's nice to look back and go, I have a story to tell. I have a story to share. And I hope, and my goal is to help as many people as possible. Have you found space in your life? You talk about your faith and you talk about your sexuality. Have you found a place to blend the two?
Yes. There's actually this little church in Pittsburgh. It's the Community of Reconciliation. And it's a church that I went to like in 2019 because I needed to find a place where I could just be myself and not have to hide. So yes. That's good.
That's kind of a nice back to, because again, you're looking for community this whole time.
Yes.
So that I can't picture you anywhere else but in a community helping others as well and being helped at the same time. So that's great.
Yes.
Well, Barb, congratulations on the book. I know it's not out officially at this moment, but it is right on the doorstep.
It's on its
and
way.
It's going to travel around the world. It's going to help a lot of people.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Barb. Congratulations. This is great.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you for sharing this time with me and for allowing me to share my story, to share my heart with your listeners. I do appreciate it very much.
Excellent. Everyone will have links to Barb and everything we've talked about in the show notes. We'll keep them up to date as the book is launched as well. Barb, I hope you have lots of time to celebrate with your community, your friends, your family, those around that love you the most, that will be around to support you as your book launches. Congratulations in advance. Soak it all up. You've done a lot of hard work to get here. And in advance, congratulations on the launch of your book.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate it.
Excellent. Everyone, all the information's in the show notes for Barb. Please go and support this author. Leave a great review. Let people know why you love this book so much when you purchase the book. If you know anybody that would resonate with this conversation, please buy an extra copy of the book and just send it to them. Let's help Barb get the word out, get her message out to the world. And by leaving a review, we help more people find the book as well. Barb, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Dave.
Hey, thanks for listening to the podcast. Glad to have you here. I just want to let you know that you can always find out what we're doing live in the moment by going to our YouTube channel. Head over to livingthenextchapter.com. There'll be a link right there. Head over to our YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all the things that all the YouTubers love to say. And in our YouTube channel, a couple things. You're going to get advanced listens. You're going to get the episodes that we're working on in real time. So we record and post daily on our YouTube channel. I'd love for you to give us a follow over there. As well, we're making playlists. We have over 500 episodes. So finding the right episode for you, we're trying to group things into playlists. So if you like children's books, if you like business, you like historical fiction, we're grouping our authors together to make it a little easier for you to find your favorite next author. So head over to livingthenextchapter.com. And again, I'd love to hear from you. Hearing from the listeners of the show is great. And I just want to say thank you for being a part of the podcast family. And I look forward to having you back for the next episode. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate your time and your listen. Take care.